We're recording, and we are live on Las Vegas Tri Club Facebook page. And hey, Ted, how's it going? It's Friday night,
It's Friday
Christmas
night.
night.
It's Christmas. If you would have asked me a year ago if we would be having a conversation, you and I, at 7 p.m. here, 6 p.m. there on Christmas night, I would have said you're crazy because normally I'm in Canada. I'm
Yeah.
surrounded by my family, and normally I've got I'm probably sitting at my aunt's house with. Normally we do a fondue.
Oh my goodness, we do fondue
And,
New Year's Eve is what we do.
Yep. And that's normally I've shoveled some snow today.
Yeah.
And so this is very odd. I'm down in Tucson, and which is great, and getting in some good training. Also, normally I do a kind of a Christmas morning run in Canada, and it's historically been very cold.
Yes. Oh, it can be very cold, and Calgary too.
In Calgary, yeah. There's been some mornings. It's been definitely like minus 20 degrees, and get up and go for a run in the brisk cold. Yeah. There's nobody up, right?
Oh, that's right.
And so today when I was running in Segura National Park with huge cactuses all around me, and it was 75 degrees. It was a little bit surreal. That's for sure. But the whole time that we're living in, and my wife and I have talked a lot about this, and you and I have talked a lot about this, is trying to make the best out of this year, and moving forward with with the COVID world we're living in. We talked about it in the summer. John, I can still remember we talked a lot about it, like this is the new normal.
Yeah.
And all you can do is just do your best.
That's right. Well, no doubt, and so this would be fun to chat with you tonight, because you're right. A year ago neither of us were thinking this way, and like you, I would be typically traveling. I would probably be on the East Coast right now. We had a family reunion planned.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and so we were going to all get together, but obviously this was not the year for that to happen. So we did a Zoom call, and this would have been my side of the family. But typically we go up to Calgary, although we haven't been up to Calgary in years now for winter. But we're going to try to go up hopefully next year to see Laura's family.
So for those of you that don't know, it's really interesting that Laura, John's wife, is from Calgary, and I'm from Calgary, and we didn't meet that way. But I think it's very interesting that's how things transpired.
But now, going up to Calgary in the winter, that is not the time to, we went skiing up there one time, and that was super cold. But being from the Northeast, I used to actually really enjoy running in, fresh snow.
Fresh snow running is awesome.
Yeah.
For people that don't know and have never done it, if there's a dusting with about 2 or 3 inches of snow on the ground, and you get the right shoes, there's nothing quite like that feeling of like just that soft.
And the sound is different.
The sound it makes. Yeah. Now running on ice, no fun at all.
Totally different. And that's where you can, I actually always had a problem with my knees when running in the winter, especially on the ice, because you do change the way you run.
Oh, for sure. It's defensive
surfaces. So.
It's defensive running.
That's right. Very much so.
Yeah. You're not really running. You're just trying not to fall. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then, when we'd go to Calgary, we'd also try and get a few swims in. And I don't know if you ever swam in Calgary.
We went to one of the community pools.
Okay. Did you notice
it was in
they swim the other direction?
Oh goodness, what's the neighborhood? It's Bryberg. I don't know. In the southeast. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble for this. It's where her sister is, but yeah.
Did you notice they swim the other direction?
No, I don't remember that, but I do. That is something actually I do pay attention to, because I, like you, do a lot of international travel. So I do always try to make sure to see which way people circle swim when they.
So it's weird because it depends on which lane you're in, because they don't use lane lines.
You alternate them.
So they'll have 2 lanes and then a lane line, 2 lanes and a lane line. And so it really depends on which lane you're actually in.
Mhm.
And I think it was last Christmas, it almost came to blows with me and another guy.
Oh, really?
Well, like you kind of forget, right?
Yeah.
You just kind of get into the groove of swimming, and then, I was going the wrong way, and this guy starts yelling at me, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm sorry." I'm like, "I'm from out of town. Like, I don't know what you guys
Yeah.
are doing here with this."
Yeah.
And he eventually apologized. He actually ended up apologizing to me. But yeah, that is actually an interesting thing when you travel internationally. A lot of times
Yeah.
it's different directions. But this one was weird. Like if you were in this lane, it was clockwise. This lane, counterclockwise.
Yep, yep. No, I've done that too, and that is interesting. And yeah, so when I was in Japan, you had to wear a cap.
Oh yeah.
Everyone had to wear a cap, and so that was a time where I wasn't really wearing caps often when I swam, and I walked in there. No, you need a cap, so I had to go get a cap and put that on. So it's
One of
always
the
interesting.
the interesting thing, and I know you've been to Japan a lot, and I've been to Japan several times as well. And I can remember one Christmas we were in Japan. I was got invited to go do a lecture there,
Hmm.
and we were stayed at one of these traditional hotels that had like the Japanese hot tub,
Oh yeah, yeah, the bass.
the
Hmm.
bath,
Yeah.
and there's signs everywhere that you have to take your suit off.
Ah, yeah.
You have to be naked, so you have to wear a swim cap, but in the bath you cannot wear any clothes.
Yeah, isn't that
And
interesting?
so I was okay with it. It was the men's one. I was fine. And once again, we'll talk about my wife. She was not comfortable not wearing her suit, and she got yelled at by the ladies in
Yeah.
there.
I see you looking at her right now. She's
Yeah.
watching. Yeah.
So yeah, it is interesting when we've both been very fortunate to been
Yeah.
traveled a lot and seen a lot of the world, and seen the different uh,
Mhm.
cultural things. So yeah, that's interesting. So how was your Christmas, John?
Well, it was good. And, speaking of being, fortunate, I mean, we've obviously really reflected quite a bit on that for this Christmas
Yep.
with and I still don't know what to call it. It was an accident, but where, 5 cyclists were killed. You know, Obviously it's impacted us lots of different ways, especially around this time of year.
Yeah.
And so we really were reflecting quite a bit on how fortunate we are to be able to, spend Christmas together and uh, and I think that's the important part is really, taking a step back and, appreciating each other. And, I reached out to more people this year than I have in the past, just because that connection, I think is important. I don't remember the exact quote watched It's a Wonderful Life again. I don't know how many times I've watched it, but, closes with, a man who has friends is never considered a failure, or something along that line. So, and that's it. That's true. And so it's going to be, 2021 for me is going to be trying to do more group training. Try to connect with people more that way than I normally do. So we'll see how
It's a
that
great
goes.
idea, because we've talked about this before. You and I are both somewhat lone wolves
Yep.
in the training, and you know, um, I think that could be a good thing to do in
Hmm.
2021.
Yep.
Yeah, you use triathlon training to get closer with people. Yeah.
Yep. No, that's right. And then that continues to strengthen our your community that way and connect with people. And it doesn't always mean that you have to be side by side with somebody, but start together, end together, and connect. So I think that's going to be sort of a fun sort of theme for 2021, and hopefully we can start doing more group things in 2021.
Yeah, I'm
Please.
really hoping we can. One of the things that I would like to do, and would be to actually put together like a little training camp. You
Yeah.
know, you and I've talked a lot about, like, one of my things that I do is I get out of town a lot,
Hmm.
do these little like triathlon training camps, and I've always done them basically solo,
Yeah.
or with Marie.
Mm.
Um, but I'd really like to maybe put together something with just, people that I know and friends, and rent a house down in San Diego or LA or down in Tucson or wherever, and actually, go as a group. And then you don't have to do the same rides, you don't have to do the same speed or whatever. Just, at the end of the day, you all come together and have a meal and talk about what you
Share
did,
the stories. Yeah.
share
Hmm.
stories, and it doesn't have. I've done that plenty of times for races where we've rented a house, but maybe do it for a training. I think that
Mhm.
would be kind of fun. And I know there's a lot of companies that put those things on, but it's a money maker. I don't want to do it as a money maker. I want to do it as a friend maker.
Yeah, right.
That's
right.
like a little training. I think that would be. I
Yeah.
think that.
No, I love that.
You and I
Yeah.
talked a lot about like one of my things that I do is I get out of town. I'm getting. And I know there's a lot of companies that put those things
Oops,
on.
right.
But
Yeah, sorry. I had my live stream playing at the same time as you were talking. That even confused myself there for a second. Well, the club used to do a summer training camp out.
Yep.
And we actually haven't done that now for probably about 3 years. So maybe that's, maybe we need to think about how to revive that with the, exiting COVID-19 restrictions, in
Yeah.
a way that's manageable. So no,
Well, I
that's
know there's a few events that we could maybe target. I know St. George, there's gonna be a lot of people training for St. George. So
Mhm.
that might be something we could do, maybe a month before, go up to St. George.
Yeah, right.
And then I know I think on the Facebook page, it was like 20 people or so are signed up for Ironman California.
There's probably at least 20. That's right.
20. So that
And
might be another.
Coeur d'Alene is probably the same number. So we can't see the numbers yet.
Yeah.
For the club register, not until they release the list, but just based on Facebook, it just seems like we're gonna have good groups for both those races. And obviously 78.3 St. George is gonna be huge. So
Maybe, look at targeting those, or and and once again, the purpose is to train, but also to connect.
yeah,
And I think that something that this year has taught us all is that the connections and how important they are.
yep.
And
So much so. Now, the gifts are important too. So let's now we should let people know that we actually did. Ted and I got together and we talked about some things, how to pull this podcast together, work on some format. We'll share some of those later, some of those ideas later. But we also wanted to just get together and just sort of have fun talking about our Christmas gifts and how they're related to triathlon, I guess. So
yeah, for sure. So why don't you go first? What'd you get for Christmas, John?
well, slippers.
Yes.
So
Very important for
slippers
triathlon.
are always important. So yeah, now it's better than my cut up Hokas for wearing around inside. So
Well, I don't know about that.
yeah, no, that's right. I actually use my cut up Hokas. I don't have a pair up here for my outside slippers. So
Yep.
I have them right by my back door, and so I can step into those, and that's what I've been working on my trailer, and it's actually been good because at one point I stopped, I started pulling nails out of the midsole. So
Oh no.
yeah, but it's good thick midsole to protect.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're gonna have nails sticking up, like you got an inch thick midsole, you're probably in good shape.
Yeah, very much so. Just no toe protection. So
That's true.
all right, what'd you get?
Well, so I got some fun things this year. So my number one thing that I got is these shoes.
Okay, Nike. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I see the toe box, the 4-foot area.
Big wide 4-foot area, and I am loving these shoes. So I got to be honest with you, I bought them pre-Christmas, but they were a Christmas present.
Okay.
My wife and I, we kind of buy our own Christmas presents. So this was my
nice. Yeah.
Christmas presents. And so these are the Nike Tempo Next. I think that's what they're called, Next Zoom Next or something like that.
Mhm.
They're not the carbon plate one. They're the training version.
Okay.
And we talked about running efficiency and running economy and shoes and testing shoes. I have to be honest with you, this is not a Nike commercial, but these things are so fast.
Yeah.
Like I traditionally, my easy long runs, just cruising 5 minutes per K. So 8-minute miles. Like that's something very typical for me. I am like 7:30, 7:40, 4:40 per K, and these for the same effort.
Wow.
And it's weird. It's like you know, and so I was like, oh, it can't be that. So I switched back to the old shoes I was in before. Boom,
Mhm.
back to 5 minute Ks, 8 minute miles. I'm like, this is very strange
Oh,
to have a shoe. I've never had a shoe that dramatically made me faster.
interesting.
And so that might be the Christmas gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
I
That's
might I might actually feel bad for people in my age group. Just no, because the truth is everybody's wearing these shoes now. You
yeah.
know, you and I were dabbling in the 4%
Mhm.
shoes, and I never really felt good in them.
Yeah.
But these I feel really good in. So I will be buying eventually before racing starts up the same version with the carbon plate.
Yeah.
Uh,
And so are you gonna race in these, you think,
no,
or
I'll race in the carbon plate ones
okay. All right.
once I pull the trigger on those. I mean, they're pretty obviously they're pretty expensive,
Mhm.
but I mean, I can't even tell you the amount of training that I would have to do to reduce, you know, to get that much faster.
Yep.
Um, and I have honestly, I've not even tried like a really fast run in them yet,
Oh, yeah.
because it's just not the time of the year for me to be like, you know,
Mhm.
trying to shoot you know, for like a top level 5K for me.
Yep.
I'm not in speed shape right now. I'm trying to start to obviously planning out the year, but
Mhm.
so that's one of my gifts for myself.
I love it. That's great. All right, I'll go with a
Okay. I have no idea what this is.
it's a leveler for my trailer.
Oh, yes. Oh, I do know what it is.
Totally
I thought
triathlon
we were talking about
related.
triathlon stuff.
No, this is totally triathlon related because that
Okay.
trailer is going to be my home away from home when I go up to St. George, even
Yep.
Coeur d'Alene. I'm even thinking of towing it up to Coeur d'Alene, maybe for a training trip or something. But yeah, so
Yep.
you put this under your trailer wheel on one side, obviously,
Yep.
and then you pull along, and then you get your trailer level. So I'm actually going to high tech my trailer if I get it back together. And I'm going to have a leveler that goes to my phone, Bluetooth, and then I'll be able to sit in my car and try to get it as level as possible. So, yeah. So it is triathlon related in that that's going to be my training vehicle. So,
Okay.
in
No,
fact, what I'm going to do
I do
for
like it.
my kitchen backsplash is I'm actually going to take my metals and mount them on a piece of sheet metal and put that up for part of the wall. So,
Oh, I love it.
yeah, so it'll be very
Oh,
triathlon specific.
that's super cool. All
Yeah.
right. I really like that idea. You know, John, I was thinking about your trailer the other day, and honestly, you said, well, if I get it back together, it's together enough. You can just put a tarp on top, and it's a tent trailer. That's all.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah, a little stagecoach or whatever that. Yeah,
yeah, it's a stagecoach.
yeah,
Exactly. That's what you got right now. Just put some canvas on it, and
yeah.
you're good to go.
Could be. Yeah, no, it's all going good. All right, give me another one on your end.
Okay, so man, way more triathlon specific. So the cyber goggles.
Well, my next ones are gonna be try. Okay, yeah, this is a big deal.
Okay, so the form goggles.
Mm-hmm.
I you know I struggled for a while to figure if I was going to buy these or not, and
Mm-hmm.
I am loving them. I'm
Yeah.
absolutely loving them. Um, you know, I we've talked a little bit about it on the podcast. We'll talk more about it in the new year. But you know, when you're trying to really, you know, in my opinion, increase your speed, knowing how fast you're going,
Yeah.
I think is really
Well,
important.
I don't know if everyone knows what the form
Oh,
goggles are. So
okay.
give them a.
Let's talk about that. So the form goggles, they actually have a heads up display in them. So in your right eye, you can actually see your pace. You can see your distance covered. You can see the time interval. You can set it up so every time you hit the wall and you turn, it gives you different data. Um, and then for all of us that train, you know, with a Garmin watch, and every time you have to get to the wall, you have to press stop and start. It automatically detects start and stop, so you don't have to do that anymore. Yeah, so and then I haven't tried it yet because it's been obviously too cold to go out to the lake, but it will connect to your watch,
Yeah.
and you can do it'll do open water pace as well.
Hmm.
And then you can also connect it to a heart rate monitor that goes on your head, which I haven't done yet either.
Oh yeah, no, I've done that. That is, the whole thing is mind blowing.
It is
To
absolutely
be able
mind.
to have, I've done heads up display for cycling. I've tried that. But to put it in the water is really amazing. And I know even the first time I tried it, one, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just so cool. But then two, and I know you had the same reactions, like, wow, I really moved my head quite a bit.
That was the biggest thing. So the first time I put them on, and I was swimming, I'm like, oh, and I've known because I've done a lot of video analysis that I move my head a lot,
Yeah,
and I never seem to not do it.
yeah,
And the first time I put these on, I'm seeing the screen move all over.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh! And I got to tell you, I haven't swam with them too many times yet, because they're my Christmas present to myself. So
I love it.
um,
Yeah.
but I did a little video of my swimming on Monday, and my head's not moving at all.
Hmm.
So if nothing else, like all the other things and swim speed and pacing and things like that, if nothing else, my head is now still, and
Yeah.
that's a win.
Right, right, right.
Because I've been dealing with this head moving thing for 4 years.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
So yeah,
Well,
that
and I think it is something, as I was using it, I was like, oh, okay, this is really interesting because now it really makes me stop and think about my technique. And do I need to change something, or do I just need to know what my head movement is? Because it doesn't, no head movement is not what you want.
no, but neither is this, right?
That's right. You don't
Shaking
want it,
your
you
head.
don't want it going really out of whack to slow you down. And
Well,
so,
and even the up and down, like lifting your head this way, because that was one of my things I was doing was I was lifting my head up and then turning,
yeah,
right? So I'd see the screen move up and then out, and that's not a good thing either, right? Because you wouldn't just turn.
right, right.
And so yeah, that was pretty big for me. And
Hmm.
then and just still like just knowing like when I set up or my coach for swimming has this is what we're trying to do today. Like this is
Hmm.
sub threshold.
Yeah,
So if I know my threshold pace swimming, and if it's like it's a 400 sub threshold,
yeah.
well, when you're 200 in, do you really know?
Hmm.
Like, am I still sub threshold? Like,
Right.
I'm not a good enough swimmer to know that I'm on a 141 pace,
Yeah.
right? Um, So for me, like when you hit the wall and it says, okay, you're at 141. Okay, okay, good, keep going. Or then you hit it at it's 143. Okay, well, I got to pick it up a little bit. And
Yeah.
whereas for biking and running, we've had that ability,
Hmm.
with our watches and our bike computers forever. And so, yeah, I think this is pretty interesting stuff.
Well, and I think as people get the heart rate monitor on, and I have it and I used it, I think it's going to be really important to spend some time just understanding how your heart rate responds to swimming, because it is a little bit different than walking. The hydrostatic pressure, the being horizontal versus vertical,
Yeah.
is, those types of things will influence how fast the heart needs to beat. But and so I think if people do get the heart rate monitor, they just need to really be careful about not trying to read too much into it or even set their pacing off that, because we need to figure it out. I love what you said in terms of trying to set your workouts based upon pace, because that's what we've relied on for swimming for so long, because that's all you have is you don't have heart rate, or if you measure heart rate, it's usually at the end of where
But
you're.
even pace is retroactive pace,
That's right,
right?
totally, yeah,
You
right,
hit the wall and
that's
you
right,
look at the clock,
yep,
or you look at your watch and it's like, oh man, that was a little slower than I wanted. Well, you
yep,
can't do anything about it,
yeah,
right? The only thing you can do is, okay, well, next time I
yep,
can do this.
yeah,
I also like it when I hit the wall and it gives me my rest interval,
yeah,
right? So instead of, hey, you're gonna do 10 200 or 10 100s on 2 minutes,
mhm,
and if I start to get slower
yep,
because I'm getting more fatigued, guess what happens? I get less rest.
that's right,
I
right,
get more fatigued,
yep,
less rest, more fatigued. And so for me, it's way better if I say, okay, I'm going to do 10 200s and I'm going to do it at this pace. So like a
mhm,
141 or 140, and I'm going to get 20 seconds rest
yep,
every time. And so then, when you stop at about 7 seconds, it starts to recognize that you're stopped, and then it starts to tell you this is how much rest you've had.
Right.
And I think that that's a better, in my opinion, that's a better way to swim physiologically.
Yeah. Hmm.
Right. I've always had a problem with swimming like that, where it's okay, you're gonna do this and this is your interval. That never made sense to me because
Yeah.
the more you do, the more tired you get, and then the less rest you get, and that just compounds.
Right. And we had talked a little bit about this, and we said we're going to do a podcast on this, and I love it because
We are.
our swimming workouts are based upon work to rest, intervals and ratios.
Yeah.
But now that you're getting to all of us are getting to the point where you can measure a physiological marker like heart rate, I think that is going to challenge some ways that workouts are designed.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing. I think we're going to see a real explosion of technology being applied to swimming, especially with form goggles figuring out the heads up display.
Yeah.
Because now that they've also paired it with the Garmin device, so it does work out in open water. Because now you can pace yourself during your 2.4 mile swim, and you can get a good sense of what you're doing. Where
Yeah.
a lot of times that's just even me, I swim 2.4 miles. I never know how far I'm in. Now, yeah, you can count buoys and all that, but
You don't know.
I don't count. There's too
Well,
much going on.
well, and here's the thing, like, and I think in racing it can be really valuable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because oftentimes in racing, especially, it's like, okay, well, I'm on this guy's feet.
Hmm.
Should I pass him?
Am I going faster
Am
or
I
am I
going?
going slower?
Yeah,
That's
like I'm comfortable
yep,
here,
yep,
and then you go out of the draft,
yep.
and it's like, oh, I can't pass him. Well, I better be behind, but I feel like I'm not working very hard.
That's right.
But
Right.
you could be swimming. You could be swimming your basically your threshold speed where you want to be at,
Hmm.
right? And so I think that could be quite valuable.
Hmm. No, I think that's going to be huge. And so I think it's good to get used to using them in the pool and then eventually take it to the lake and see. Now, at the same time, I do think, we've got to be careful about, using our monitors to restrict us
Yep.
and I always say, let that magic happen. But at the same time, I wear my watch all the time. I look at it all the time for swimming, or excuse me, for running and biking. So why not have a device for swimming as well?
Well,
So,
if you think about it, if you know your swim threshold,
hmm.
right? So you know what pace you can do for 1500 because you've
Yep.
tested it,
Yeah.
right? You are not going to do 10% faster,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Right.
It's the same in a bike. Like
Yep.
if you know your FTP is 250 watts and you're going to ride for an hour,
Yeah.
you're not going to do 20. You're not going to do 10% higher. You're not going to
No.
go and do 275.
You're not going to go out on your marathon at a 6 minute mile pace, if you're not, at that level. So, yeah.
You are what you are,
Hmm.
and I think the swim is the one that's the most difficult to pace,
Yeah.
and especially in racing. I mean, I think we'd all agree that in a triathlon swim, especially, that
Hmm.
first 100,
Yeah.
everyone's going so hard,
Yeah.
and then you blow up,
Oh, the mistake they make. That's right.
and we've all made it.
Yeah. Well, I
And
always say if anyone wants to swim an hour for an Ironman, just get next to me because almost every one of my swims are at 59 to 102.
but you're so experienced now, John. I can almost guarantee your first 100 is not your fastest
Not
100.
at all. Not at all.
Right?
It's all about understanding the pace. And so I think that's where the form goggles, again, we're not sponsored by them, so we don't have anything here, but I think it's going to be a neat tool for you to play around and others as well. So that would be fun.
Yep. Okay, what's next for you?
Okay, so we both got a new toy this year for our outdoors, and that was the Garmin InReach. And that is
Yes.
the satellite device. I say satellite phone, but it's not a phone, but you can text using the Garmin Mini. And I really liked it for the purpose of having with me in areas where you're not going to have cell coverage at all, or maybe even questionable cell coverage. And so the Mini talks to your phone, and you can text from your phone as opposed to even working on the small devices. So another gift I got was actually just an extension of that and some mounts for the
Oh, for
Mini.
the inReach.
So yeah, for the InReach, so I can put that one in my car as I'm pulling my trailer to these, off, and then also be able to just mount it in different places as I'm out using it. So it'll be good.
Yeah, we both went down that road of doing the Garmin InReach when we were doing our Epic October stuff, and looking for ways to basically stay connected when you're out of cell signal. And I think that's important for people to realize these are units that you can utilize when there's no cell coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about it to me is honestly is the SOS feature basically.
Yeah.
That if you're in a place and you get into some trouble, there is, as part of the package, because the problem is you have to pay a monthly subscription for it, but
Yep.
as part of the package, there's a search and rescue as a part of it. And obviously for what we do, a lot of times it's not maybe that important, but I know you do some hiking, I do some hiking,
Yep.
get into some places. And, I don't remember the gentleman's name who passed away hiking in Mount Charleston earlier this year. He was diabetic, remember?
Yeah, right.
Remember. Like something like this could have saved his life.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Mount Charleston is a location that you'd think you'd have cell coverage, but you don't. And when I did the hike twice this past year, and tested out whether or not my phone would have any coverage in it, and it did not. So maybe on the very top I could connect.
Maybe if you're on the very top, you might be able to.
But that was intermittent, and I wasn't always sure if my messages even got off my phone. So so good to have these toys. And I know when I'm going to do my rides out to North Shore out that way, and I'll still do the Searchlight ride. I'll take it along with me because I know those are two areas that cell coverage is really bad.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of time in the summer in Mount Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, you think you're going to have coverage, you don't. There's a lot of spots that you don't have coverage, especially on the Lee Canyon side. So, good.
All right, what do you got?
That was both of us, as I was going to mention the InReach too.
Oh yeah, oh nice.
So the other thing that I got, it was actually a gift for my wife and for me.
Okay.
Is we bought a new laptop.
Oh, nice.
And so just for personal use.
Apple, PC.
An Apple, yeah.
So you're an Apple guy, yeah.
So the brand new Apple M1. It's the first, well, not the first, but it's the first really that has Apple's own processors in it instead of Intel.
Cool. Okay.
And so it was pretty exciting because my wife, it's really funny. She's never had a new computer for herself.
Okay.
And for us, and so that was pretty exciting to do. And so that was I guess it's a triathlon thing because we use our computers all the time for triathlon.
We do. I mean, think about all the electronic logs that we have from Strava, Garmin Connect, and then even things doing best bike splits and all the analysis. So no, that's great, and it's nice to have a good computer for things like that.
Yeah, something you can rely on. That's always going to be there. It's always going to work. So yeah, that was a pretty big.
And all your Zoom, all the
Zoom,
your podcasting.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was nice. That was a really nice gift.
That's good. All right, my next one is my wife actually got this, and I've been wanting them. The neoprene or the silicone ring.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I don't like training and racing in a wedding band because I've lost them.
Yes.
They come flying off my hand, especially when I'm swimming.
Yeah.
And I'm notorious for losing some wedding rings. This one I've actually had. This one's from Hawaii, but these will stay on, and if I lose one of these, it won't be a big deal. So. I can replace. I've got spares now.
Oh man, you can be married 4 more times. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Very practical. So
yeah, very practical. And I when I'm swimming, the same thing is like I wear like a metal ring, and it's weird. Like when you especially get into cold water, your hands get a little smaller. And then also, you're a poor swimmer like me, you hit the lane lines a lot and you're banging your ring on the lane
Yeah,
line.
yeah. No,
Busting it.
I literally I don't train and nor race with a wedding band on it.
Yeah.
It just for those reasons. And again, I've lost them. So
I don't race with it for sure, but
Mhm.
I do train. I do train with it.
Mm.
All right, John, what's next? Because I honestly, that's all I have.
Oh, I got one more. It's not my
Okay.
gift, but it's something. This is, I guess, more to my drum roll one too. I think you're actually like this.
Okay.
All right. So, as you know, Laura qualified for Kona via the Legacy program. So she had to do 12 Ironman races, Ironman branded races, and then actually do a 13th one just to certify. And of course, she was going to do Kona in 2020, which did not happen. So now there was a chance she was going to do it in February, but that got canceled. And now it is looking like, and we're hoping that by fall 2021, she'll be able to do her Kona, which is a pretty big deal. And
Oh, for
there's all different pathways to get to the start line of Kona, and Legacy is one. It's a very legitimate way. I know a number of people that are shooting for their Kona entry that way, and I know when she did that 12th race, that was just it was a big deal. It was a big accomplishment, and thinking back to where she started, it was really brought a tear to my eye when she finished her 12th one. So been wanting to do something with her medals to honor that, and so this is what we came up with. And actually, my boys helped me with this. So
Oh man, that is so awesome.
we did a.
And is it in the order that she did them?
It is. It is. And
Oh,
I did put them on magnets, so
yep.
we could do some different things with them. But
Spectacular.
this is sort of going along with some of the work I've been doing with the trailer. Got a router, and I started thinking, well, I guess we could get, I could route out a circle and then make a clock out of the metals. And so, and then do some staining. So we did a bunch of routing. All this routing was done by the boys, and then we stained it and mounted the magnet. So
that's awesome.
yeah, now we just it's a little heavy. So we're gonna have to find a stud in the house to a weight supported beam to hang it on. But
well, John, we're all hoping that Kona happens this
yeah.
year, and then that she can get to go. If it happens, is she in?
Yep. She has her spot transferred to October 2021, and I think some people had the option going to 2022. I can't remember how that worked out.
Well, that's how the 70.3 World was. I had the option of going to St. George or to New Zealand in 2022.
Yeah. So now I still have one chance to qualify for 2021. So it would be fun if we race together, but I'll be perfectly fine going and supporting her too. So Coeur d'Alene will be my race to try to.
So is Coeur d'Alene still for 2021?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Okay. 2021 goes all the way up to, well, typically the end of August. So.
Okay.
I don't know what the last race is this year to get into 2021 because of all these changes, but usually it's right around when is the flip? It's usually right around August, September, because Louisville, when I qualified before, it was Louisville, and that was right at the end of August when they moved it over. So yeah,
I think there's going to be some pretty fast times coming up this year in Ironman.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to steal some motivation from Tom Trogger, who I told this story before, but probably worth telling again. And Tom was one of the cyclists that died in this accident. And we had met at a get together, actually at Max Jones's shop. And Max was doing a session on rehab and sports science, and so I went over and met Tom there, and we were just talking about qualifying for Kona because we're in the same age group. And I asked him, what race are you going to try to qualify on? And he told me, I don't remember. I think it was Cancun or Louisville. And I said, oh yeah, okay, that probably will have 3 spots. He goes, oh, I'm going to win it. And I'm like, but he didn't say it in a cocky way. He said it in a way that's what he was shooting for. That was his mindset. And I like that. And so I'm actually going to borrow from that, and I'm going to try to win my age group at Coeur d'Alene. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with that mindset.
And
Now,
it's not, and John, I don't think it's being cocky.
hmm
There's a difference between confidence and cocky, right?
hmm
The confidence, I mean, it's confidence. I mean,
yeah,
you have dedicated years of your life to doing this, and you've done it well. And so I don't see that as being cocky. Like if you
hmm
here's the thing is, if you don't believe you can win,
yeah.
you're never going to win.
No,
Right?
that's right. That's
Like
right.
you
So
have,
why not set your sights on what's achievable, but you don't. I mean, goal setting is always tricky because you want it to be just out of reach,
yeah.
but you
But,
want it to be
but here's the thing is like you know what it takes to
Mm-hmm.
win your age group, right? Basically. Now you don't know who's going to show up,
No, but it's
but
usually right around a 950,
yeah.
to depending on the course, 950 to 1010, depending. So,
So let's say you shoot for a 10-hour,
yeah,
right? And you do the training that sets you up for that. Like, you do the training so you could swim an hour
yeah,
and you can bike 5 hours and you can run 4 hours and you're at 10 hours, right?
yeah,
Like if you've done the training to do that and you have the metrics that yes, you can do that,
mm-hmm.
and that's the time it probably is going to take to win, why not say that and have the confidence in
Right.
in yourself? You know, I used to, I think that all of us used to have like doubts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or still have doubts. And I think when we get rid of those doubts and
Mm-hmm.
we start to say, I'm going to win,
Yeah.
um, it's good, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
really good. And the only problem is when you don't win, you can be disappointed,
That's right. That's right. But
right?
disappointment isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's not.
No.
So,
Like
but now what I want to do is use our Fridays, because in the back of my mind, I'm going to, be selfish and I'm going to be thinking, okay, how is this information that we're covering going to help me go
Yep.
just a little bit faster? So I think let's share some ideas that we talked about for the evidence-based triathlete. And I think something in our conversation that was really important was that we wanted to cover useful information
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Like it's the same with me. Like our conversations should be somewhat geared towards both of us being successful in 2021,
hmm hmm
right? And learning as we go and learning from each other and learning from reading literature and learning from training. And one of the things that I'm really considering is getting even deeper into data,
hmm
right? And I haven't pulled the trigger on it. And over the Christmas break, one of my things I want to do is learn about that WKO software
Okay.
and really get into
hmm
learning more.
Do
Um,
they have classes on that or
they have
how?
online, they have basically online videos,
hmm
um, and then they do have certification through Training Peaks, like to become Training Peaks coach or whatever. There's a lot of information on the WKO. So that's going to be over the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm gonna there's you get I think it's a 14-day free trial.
hmm
Start the 14-day free trial and get into some more of the data. So then because here's the thing, we've already alluded to it, but if physiologically what you can do,
hmm
right?
Yeah.
Then there's nothing wrong with saying, I'm going to go I don't know, like at St. George, I'm going to go 440 at
Yeah.
St. George.
Great.
But
hmm
if I've done the training and I've analyzed it and I've basically I know what I can do in all the disciplines, and and once again, if 440 is going to win my age group, which it might,
Yeah.
right? There's nothing wrong with me saying my goal today is to win.
Yeah. Right.
Like, and I don't think that's being cocky. Now, here's the thing: is if I don't do the training and I have no idea what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and
Then
I'm walking around like, yeah, my goal's to win today, and I have no business. I think you have no business saying that.
Yeah, right.
And that's being cocky,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
No, that is, and I think that I'll look at that WKO with you too, because
Okay.
I think that is really, the science behind it. But and obviously the science is so important, but there's that other
Yeah.
unexplainable part that you
Well,
can.
I think that maybe that's one of the things we can do in the new year is start to break down stuff in WKO.
Hmm.
One of the areas, I guess, that is coming to more of a forefront in WKO, and I haven't done it yet, and that's another thing I might do is actually start doing running with power,
Yeah.
like actually do a running power meter.
Hmm.
Um, some really interesting research on that. In particular, it was a few years ago at Kona that actually Training Peaks did some research with running power, and they noticed that what was it that all of the top athletes basically fell back into their most efficient running.
Mm-hmm.
So you started out your first 10K, maybe you're a little fast,
Yeah.
then everyone basically moved into their most efficient, like via power meter.
Hmm.
And so learning your most efficient pace, especially for an Ironman, is really critical.
Yeah. Right.
You know, it's like, what is that most efficient run pace?
Hmm.
You can change those you change that with having a running power meter, because that's basically what the goal of a running power meter is. It's the exact opposite of having a bike power meter.
Yeah.
You want to run the fastest you can with the least amount of power. Actually,
Mhm.
I guess that's a bike too, right? You want to ride as fast as you can with the least amount of power
That's right. Yeah.
and make yourself as efficient of a runner or a cyclist as possible.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna dig into that and
Well,
help us.
one of the things we talked about with the podcast is to have a technology feature.
Yeah,
And then we want to keep coming back and talking about the different ways to measure aspects of training, and that not only help you set up your next training session, but would help you for a race situation. So I think that's going to be fun as we tease out 2021.
yeah.
Let's see. We also talked about adding in some injury
Yes.
discussion and how to minimize the risk of an injury, and once you have one, how to rehab it. So,
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about that. One of the things that's really interesting in injury, and that I really want to get to talk about in the new year, is talking about that the injury is often the canary in the coal mine.
hmm,
It's telling you something else,
yeah,
right? My knee hurts. Well, your knee hurts not because something you're doing with your knee. It's something
hmm,
you're doing with your foot, your toes, your hip, your back. Your shoulder hurts. Well, where is it coming from? It's not probably something you're doing wrong with your shoulder. It's something
yeah,
with your scapula or your back
hmm,
or your thoracic spine or your neck.
hmm,
And we're going to get into some of that stuff in the coming up as well, which I'm pretty excited to talk about, because
yeah,
that's kind of, for me, my bread and butter stuff that I talk to my students all the time.
yeah, that's good. And then the other feature we talked about was zeroing in on some technique issues, which is always a good, healthy discussion, and you get lots of different perspectives about, probably running technique more so than the other two sports, but we spend
Well,
so much
swimming
time on
technique, I think,
running.
is right up there.
The what is?
Swimming technique.
Well, yes, but I think there's more agreement on what swimming technique
Yes.
is
Yeah.
than running. Running technique, chi, pose, forefoot, rear foot, barefoot, shod, max, min. There's so many different perspectives on good running, overstriding, understriding.
Run cadence,
Yeah,
ground contact time.
yep. And so what we're going to do over 2021 is zero in on some technique discussions for swim, bike, and run.
Yeah,
That'll be fun.
absolutely.
And I think it'll be actually neat to even talk about things like cycling technique, because that's one sport that probably no one really, other than getting fit, fit in terms of your bike fit, not fit physiologically, but getting set up on your bike. I don't hear a lot of people talking about pedaling technique or climbing technique. I know we talked a little bit about it with the Everstream that you did this past year, but No,
But I think
I think it'll
I
be
think
fun.
it's critical, and I think that there's a lot of misinformation about all of those things, or not misinformation, but disagreement.
Yep, yep.
And I think we can talk about the different camps,
Hmm.
different theories, and
Yep.
without even really judging. It's like because there's some of these things we just don't know, and the research
Oh,
is
right.
just not good,
Hmm.
and a lot of it is anecdote.
Hmm.
And well, this worked well for Daniela Reef.
Yeah,
Well, that
that's
must work
right.
good for me, right?
Right. That's right.
And that's not true,
Yeah.
because no, well, unless she's watching, nobody hears Daniela Reef.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a good thing to talk about as well. And then back to the tech stuff. I think that one of the things that we're going to do moving forward too is we're going to. I love to try out new tech and new
Yeah.
things, and try out new things and talk about them, like we did tonight with the Form goggles and the shoes. And
Yeah.
I think that you and I are both kind of geeks into the
Yeah.
tech world of stuff,
Hmm.
and we'll be like guinea pigs potentially for people. So yeah,
No,
I think it'll be good too.
I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And then the next feature I wrote down is, this was a fun one, nutrition.
Yep.
And the fourth discipline of triathlon, especially as the races get longer, that becomes more and more important. But this is why I've always loved sprint races, because nutrition matters not. Other than
Yeah.
pre-race nutrition for a sprint. But on a sprint, I don't even take a bottle. I don't take anything. So
The only time I think I take a bottle is for the Pumpkin Man, because I know it's going to be going slow up that hill anyway, so I might as well have half a bottle of water.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, I think that the nutrition stuff is going to be great. Once again, there's a lot of disagreement and conjecture, and we're gonna get into that, and I think that's going to be really, really good. The other area that we're going to talk a lot about in the new year or more is about recovery.
Yeah.
And ways to recover better from the training sessions that we do, and I think that that's going to be another good area to delve into. And there's lots of tech in that area as well. And what works, what doesn't work. I've been very fortunate to go to several conferences that have talked about that. And, so yeah, there's a lot there as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's be fun, and we're getting connected with a company that has some product in that recovery area, so that'll be fun to even talk about some of the work that we're going to do there. All right, and then the last feature I wrote down was to do something on safety.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be really interesting because obviously safety for swimming, have your swim buoy with you. I think that's such a great device that's come out. The bike, we'll talk about mirrors and cameras and lights. And actually, I was looking at some bike stats in terms of accidents, and really, really interesting area. And then run, how to be safe on the run as well. So I think that'll be fun to go through.
I think those are all going to be good. And then next week we got a special episode.
That's right. Announce it. Let's do it.
You go ahead and announce it.
No. Go ahead. I love the idea.
So next week, and we're going to do this from time to time, is for those people that watch us, we want to make it a little bit more interactive from time to time, and we're going to do some ask us anything.
Yeah.
But ask us anything that's relevant to triathlon, or my mustache, something like that. But yeah, if people have questions that they'd like us to talk about or to answer, we'll do the best we can. The one area that is going to be very, very difficult is in particular asking about personal injuries.
Yeah.
So that's the one area that, you could say, can you tell us or talk about IT band syndrome? Right. That's fine, but don't be like, oh, yeah, I've had IT band issues for 4 years, and what should I do? That's something that we don't want to get down with that. I'm more than happy to, if you want to reach out to me, to set you up with an athletic trainer in Las Vegas that'll take good care of you, or a physical therapist or whoever in Las Vegas to take care of you. But if you have questions about injuries, and if you just pose them the proper way, we're more than happy to talk about them. if it's posed the correct way.
I think that'll be fun to get questions like latex versus butyl tubes.
Yeah.
What type of helmet? I think that's how we started down that path. Even was, talking about helmet choices. What type of shoes? It'll be fun to see what people come up with, and what I think what we're going to try to do, given this is the title of this is the evidence-based triathlete, is we're going to try to find the research that may help answer some of those questions.
Yeah. So if you're still listening, still with us on our Christmas episode, and we're going to post it on the Tri Club's Facebook page as well. If you can get us some questions in early, so we have a chance to actually look at them ahead of time, that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're both really looking forward to that.
Yeah. No, that's gonna be fun. All right. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, a few times we've actually had questions come through, and we've created whole episodes based off of those questions. So that's great. Yeah.
Yep. And the whole idea is obviously we want to do these not only for our selfish reasons to chat and get information for ourselves, but to push information back out to the community. So that's the whole idea of these. So hey, Ted, It's been fun talking with you.
Yep. Merry Christmas to you and the family.
We're just here, Laura and Miles right now. Grant is out visiting with his girlfriend's family tonight.
Awesome. Well, Merry Christmas to all of you and to all of our listeners, and we'll see you next week for New Year's Day.
Nice.
New Year's Day.
Anything on 2021?
Yeah, we will. The next time we'll talk, it'll be next year. Perfect.
Awesome. All right.
Okay. Thanks, John. Good night.
Good night.